there's a technology on the horizon that could either solve every major problem humanity has or, well, end us completely. We're talking about artificial general intelligence. And in this explainer, we're going to cut through the noise to really understand what it is, when the people actually building it think it's going to get here, and what its arrival could mean for every single one of us. And that right there, that's not a line from some sci-fi movie. That is a direct quote, a huge warning flare, sent up by hundreds of the world's leading AI scientists in 2023. So when the very creators of this tech are sounding an alarm that loud, you have to wonder, why are we sprinting towards it? The answer really is the incredible, almost utopian promise it holds.
Because, yeah, for all the risk, the potential upside is just staggering. A world without disease, without poverty, a total reimagining of what humans can achieve. But to get our heads around that, let's nail down some key definitions first.
Okay, so first up is artificial general intelligence, or AGI. Now, this isn't the AI we use today, the kind that's amazing at one specific thing. AGI is a massive leap. It's an AI that can learn, reason, and create across any area a human can, and frankly, do it better. But believe it or not, even AGI is just a stepping stone.
The next level up is superintelligence. And what's wild about this is the sheer scope of it all. We're not just talking about a slightly better chess player. Imagine an intellect that could compose a symphony as good as Beethoven's, solve quantum physics, and cure cancer all at the same time, before its morning coffee. That's the kind of all-encompassing power we are talking about.
So what's the ultimate end game for the optimists? It's a concept from the famous futurist Ray Kurzweil, and he calls it the singularity. He has this vision of a point in time, he pegs it at 2045, where we stop just using AI and actually start merging our own minds with it, becoming, well, something more.
And just listen to the scale of that ambition. He's not talking about getting a little bit smarter. He's talking about a million-fold expansion of our intelligence. It's a vision that's so grand it almost sounds spiritual. Now, this all sounds like it's way, way off in the distant future, right? Well, maybe not.
You see, for decades, AGI was comfortably a problem for the next century. But in just the last few years, something has totally changed. The timeline isn't just moving up, it feels like it's collapsing in on itself.
Just look at this. This is not some minor tweak. In only 5 years, the median expert prediction for when AGI gets here has jumped forward by almost 30 years. It went from 2062 all the way to 2033. This isn't just a gradual change, it's a sign that the ground is shifting right under our feet, and the future is roaring towards us way faster than anyone thought.
And if we look at the people on the front lines, you can see this high-stakes debate playing out in real time. The timelines are just breathtakingly soon. You've got CEOs like Dario Amodei and Sam Altman pointing to just the next few years. AI pioneers like Geoffrey Hinton see it by the end of this decade. And then you have Yann LeCun from Meta, who is the big skeptic here, pushing it out much further. Who's right? The answer to that could literally define this entire century.
But all this talk raises a really fascinating question. When we say smarter than a human, what do we even mean by that? A key idea here is that AGI won't just be a faster human brain. It's going to be an entirely different kind of mind. I love this quote from Yann LeCun because it really drives home a humbling point. His argument is that we humans, we're not actually general intelligences. We're biological creatures, brilliant at some things like social skills and intuition, but pretty hopeless at others. A real AGI wouldn't have any of our biological baggage. It would be a superset of our intelligence, plus so much more. And that leads us to this foundational, and let's be honest, kind of terrifying concept, the intelligence explosion. The theory is actually pretty simple. Once we build an AI that's smart enough to start improving its own code, it kicks off this runaway feedback loop. A smart AI designs a smarter AI, which designs an even smarter one, and on it goes, with intelligence shooting up an exponential curve that we can't even begin to imagine, let alone control. But is that explosive takeoff a sure thing? Well, there's a growing group of researchers who are pointing to a potential roadblock. They call it the scaling wall, and it's the idea that our current strategy, just making AI models bigger and bigger, might be running out of gas.
As this quote kind of gets at, we might be hitting a limit. Large transformers. That's the basic architecture behind things like ChatGPT. Think of it as the engine. The argument here is that just building a bigger version of that same engine won't be enough. To get to true AGI, we might need a totally new scientific breakthrough, a completely different kind of engine that we haven't even invented yet.
But while the scientists argue about how we get to AGI, the systems they're building right now are already on track to cause one of the biggest economic disruptions in human history.
The whole debate really comes down to this. On one side, you have the classic optimist's take. Technology always creates more jobs than it kills in the long run. But on the other side, you have this really stark warning from people like Demis Hassabis, who are saying that the sheer speed of this change could be unlike anything we've ever seen before.
And let's be really clear here. This isn't about factory robots anymore. The jobs right in the crosshairs are the knowledge workers. We're talking lawyers, analysts, writers, programmers. The CEO of Anthropic is warning that half of those entry-level, white-collar jobs could just disappear within a decade. Just let that sink in for a second.
This kind of massive disruption is forcing people to have serious conversations about some pretty radical ideas. Solutions like universal basic income are going from being on the fringe to being in the mainstream, with some arguing that it's going to become a necessity as early as the 2030s, just to stop widespread hardship. But job losses, as big of a deal as they are, aren't even the biggest thing at stake here. We have to face the final and most profound question of all. Can we actually control something that becomes vastly more intelligent than we are? This is the issue of existential risk.
This analogy from the philosopher Nick Bostrom is, well, it's maybe the most chillingly perfect way to think about the problem. I mean, gorillas are incredibly powerful animals, right? But their very survival depends entirely on the whims and the goodwill of a more intelligent species, us. When we create a superintelligence, we might just be voluntarily putting ourselves in the position of the gorilla.
So what are the odds of the absolute worst-case scenario? When AI researchers were polled and asked to put a number on the probability of an AI-caused existential catastrophe, the median answer came back as 10%. Just think about that, a 1 in 10 chance of a world-ending event coming straight from the experts themselves. And this fear isn't coming from some fringe group or sci-fi authors. Just look at this list. These are the very people who have spent their entire lives building this technology, the godfathers of AI, the CEOs of the biggest AI labs, some of the greatest minds in physics. The architects of our future are raising the alarm about their own creation.
And that brings us to this final, really profound thought. An ultra-intelligent machine could solve every other problem we have, which would make it the last invention we ever need to create. It promises a future that is beyond our wildest dreams. But at the same time, it presents us with the ultimate challenge of control, a test that humanity has never, ever faced before. The wave is coming. The only question left is, are we ready for it? What do you think?